Let me just wipe these off on my BBs. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today we're taking on the impossible. We are going to be ranking my Pat McGrath palettes, and it was not easy. It's like choosing between your children. That's how I felt about this. So I have 4 of her, picking up very carefully, 4 of her Mothership palettes, her big mega palettes, her prize possessions, her prize creations. I have Mothership 1, 5, 7 and 8, I think are the numbers. I also have her Celestial Divinity Mothership Mega. Can't speak, that's how upset I am about having to do this. And then 2 quads from her holiday collection, also Interstellar Icons and Risque Rose. So those are the palettes that I'm going to be ranking today. And you may think that I'm going to just automatically put the quads in a separate category, but I'm not, because, well, you'll see why. Stop spoiling it, Charlotte, and just get on with the ranking. So we have 7 palettes to work with, and as I said, I decided to just rank them as I see it, as I felt it, regardless of the size of the palette. This is going to be going from my least to most loves. But before I get started, I must clarify, I must say this, and you must listen. I love all of these. I love every single one of these palettes deep within my heart and soul. These are it for me. So 7th, 6th, 5th, love them, adore them, still do. Doesn't mean I don't love them, but for some reason or another, there is a slight order to these, and I managed to do it. I did it, and I feel happy with the order I've gone for. So in 7th place, it is the Interstellar Icons quad. Now, like I said, I love and adore this palette, and I've said whenever I've talked about this palette, the thing that stops me loving it and adoring it a hair more to, you know, a few more places up, let's say, is just that it's not for me a complete, full, everything that I would wish this look to be on its own. So I do like it. I do love the look I can achieve with this palette, and I think this blue is glorious, and it gives me something that I didn't already own. So I do love and treasure it for that reason. But I do wish that this had a matte in it. I deep in my heart, I need a matte for a palette to be a full palette. I would have loved this to have had a rich brown matte in it, and then it would have been maybe higher, who knows. But I do like it. I get a good, lovely blue, dramatic, very, very pretty, lovely eye look out of this. And I like the formula. No issues, no complaints. As this is made in the USA, I've said before, I do notice a difference between the US and the Italian made formulas. Another reason why this is slightly lower is I don't believe the formula in here is as impressive as some of her other palettes. Now, in 6th place, now this decision kind of hurt me more than I thought it was going to. And it still hurts me now as I open it. I feel a little heartbroken that I've got to put this one as low as I have, but I have to, because I do. I just do. In 6th place, it is Celestial Divinity, the Mothership Mega. And I know, like, again, it breaks my heart that this is so low. This doesn't feel like this palette should be 6th of anything. I love it so much. This is like my Fun Time Frankie palette. If I'm feeling, you know, happy, fun, play with colours, and this is just a treat. I love everything about it, but it is missing mattes. It feels like I'm obsessed with mattes in this video, doesn't it? I do love a matte, I do, but you know, I love Toms and Jerry's as well. I'm so sorry. I've let myself down more than anything. But the point is, this only has 3 mattes, and I wish it had a few more. This is also USA made, and you know, it doesn't have the stunning over the top packaging of the Motherships. So there's a few little things that I would love to slightly tweak about it. And there are definitely some shades in here that aren't necessarily like my favourites, like this got bright yellow gold. I don't love a yellow gold. Some of the copper tones aren't really my thing. So for such a large palette, there's definitely some shades in here that I don't really reach for that much, but I do love it. It's just that others I think are just a little more close to my heart, a little bit more me. So yeah, for that reason, number 6, but I do feel like you deserve better somehow. You know, I don't feel great about this one either. This, again, I feel like this should be higher, but you know, that's the nature of these palettes. They are just also glorious. It's very hard to choose between them, but in 5th place, it's my first ever Pat McGrath palette, and it's Mothership I. Now this, when you're going to see the rest of my palettes, you'll see this one is the oldest, the one I've had for longest. It's the most beat up and it's glorious. Please don't get me wrong, it may be in 5th place, but it is like just a love of my life. I absolutely adore and treasure this palette. I think the only reason it's not higher is that it's stunning and glorious, but it's probably the most wearable, like everyday, as far as Pat McGrath gets anyway, of these palettes. So there's something a little more like subtle and down to earth and just standard than the rest. The rest are like crazy off the scale. This is, as you can see, it's more of a sort of neutral wearable palette. So I mean, that's part of the reason why I love it, and it's got so much use from it, because you can just wear this every day of your life. This rose gold in here is like life-changing. It's probably the thing that I fell in love, the shade, you know, that I really fell in love with Pat McGrath. To begin with, these mattes, it's got generously three mattes in here, which you don't always get, and I love that. It's just, everything about it is wearable. You've got 2 different, you know, brown mattes, perfect for any look. You can literally just do those mattes in the crease and actually have, you know, a no makeup look, which you can't really expect from a Pat McGrath palette. Same goes for this, you know, super perfect, more subtle, like glowy lid shade. Again, you can get a super everyday wearable shade look out of here. But there are a couple shades I don't really use. One being this red, I barely ever touch it. And another being this darker bronze shade. I kind of have to really be in the mood for bronzy tones, especially sort of richer, deeper ones like this. And this shade down here, again, I don't really use that one. So there's a few shades in here that I don't use a lot whenever I reach for this palette. So for that reason, it's in 5th. And also just because it isn't as exciting maybe as some of the ones that come above it, but a love of my life for sure. And next up in 4th place, this is Mothership I. These have all really steamed up, by the way, and you can see my window is really steamed up today. It's very frosty outside and I've got the heating on, so it's causing some frostiness and some condensation in some places. So the fewer questions asked about that, the better. This is gorgeous to me. It's just stunning, and it is different from other palettes that I have in my collection. It gives me blues. This shade here that I think I'm just about managing to show you its blue shift. It looks like white slash almost pink when I look at it in here, but there, blue, and on the lid I die. I can't wear this palette without you guys going nuts, because it's just, it's so eye-catching and different and special when you use the blues in here. It's just glorious, and it's all these cool tones, but at the same time wearable shades in here as well, like this soft smoky lilac, and again this gorgeous taupey shade. Like, get out of here. This sort of softer yellow gold, more up my street for me. You know, there's just so much going on in here, and I love all of it, and I find it so unique and special and exciting. It's definitely not as me as some of the other palettes. It's definitely a little different, but I feel comfortable and excited to use it, and I just feel like it's something that I really don't have in my collection. It's such a cool, wintry, just frosty kind of look. Winter and like things like New Year's Eve, Christmas. This is just like a glorious palette. It just really has its time to shine, and it really like pushes me out of my comfort zone. But I just like, whenever I use that palette, I'm blown away, and it's just exciting to use because it is so different. My hair has taken on like a whole life of its own today. Really, we've just given up on hairbrushing at this point. Now, you may be wondering, well, where's that other quad gone, Charlotte? But it's here. It's in number 3 spot. Risque Rose. Who would have thought that this would be above 2 Mothership palettes and the Celestial Divinity? But let me tell you, this is the palette I've got on my eyes today, and I'm obsessed with it. I think it is perfection as a quad. It's everything. It's my shades. It's different. It's glorious. The formula is outstanding in every shade in here. It's actually quite versatile, given that there are only 4 shades. You can get 3 or 4 totally different looks from it. Every time I use it, I'm wowed by the formula, by the process, by the outcome, and I just cannot say enough good things. Learn to speak, lady. It's just a marvel. It's a marvel. It's perfection. It's genius. I'm obsessed with it. It's glorious. I have to say it's the one that I would probably recommend the most out of almost all of these, because you can try Pat McGrath's ultimate formula and her genius without spending over £100. Like, if you're trying to test out the brand and what she stands for, this represents Pat in the most affordable option as far as eyeshadow, in the best way. It's a genius palette. The process, the way it's been thought out and put together, the combinations, I can't even speak. That's how much I love it. So that's how come it's in 3rd place among all of these bigger boys and girls. And now for the toughest decision potentially of my life. Forget deciding who I'm going to marry or whether we're going to have children or not. This was the hardest decision I've ever had to make, and it's Divine Rose 1 versus Divine Rose 2. I mean, how am I supposed to choose? How? So let's pause for a moment. You tell me, which do you think I love the most? Divine Rose 1 or Divine Rose 2? Which do you think? Which is it? Who knows? Who's it going to be? Who can say? Who can tell? The tension is building. In 2nd place, drum roll please, it's Divine Rose 1. And let me tell you, it's neck and neck. And this could change willy-nilly depending on the day and my mood. But I open it and I'm like, how could this be second? How? Look at her. She's perfection. I just adore it. And I think there's a couple of reasons why she's second versus first. The pros of this palette is that every single shade in here I can, will and do wear any single day of the week, any single occasion, day of my life. There's stunning, glorious, softer shades in here. Like the rose and these are just, you know, I mean, what can you say? You can use a couple of the mattes and just make a really everyday wearable look out of here, but you can just whack the topper on and you're sent into the hemisphere of eyes or something better than that. But you see what I'm saying? There are so many options in here that just tick my box, float my boat, tickle my pickle, that are glorious, that are beautiful, that are rosy, pinky, gloriousness. Just everything about it is my favorite thing. It's wearable, it's easy, it's got options, it's versatile, it's my tones. I just love the bones of this palette, and there is not a thing I would change about it. So why is it in 2nd place, I hear you cry? Well, in 1st place, Divine Rose 2, and this is like Divine Rose 1 on heat, let's say, something along those lines. This, I mean, one, the packaging, and I know like packaging doesn't make a difference, but when you're looking at something on your vanity and deciding which to pick up, it does actually. It kind of, my heart and soul is like guided towards the pink shiny box. That's just me. I'm very easily pleased. But also inside, it's more exciting. It's literally Divine Rose 1, but someone just chucked a load of fairy dust at it and everything's brighter and richer and more exciting and more. So although I may use this one less, although not really, because actually it's maybe even more versatile than Divine Rose 1, because you can have real colour in here. You can definitely amp up bright, colourful kapow looks, but it's really got some stunning softer tones, and I think the mattes really lend themselves to making things more wearable if that's what you're going for, because you've got these softer, more muted mattes. And the same thing, these two shimmers, I just live, breathe and dye them, and I would just happily just put these on my lid every single day. Am I just putting, no, I have wiped my hand. That's great. Fantastic. Well done. Yeah, they're just, you can see how wearable and soft. But then you've got things like this fuchsia, which who thought that was going to be so easy to wear? But when you put it together with these tones, it really is. And even the gold in here is like my favorite type of her gold. It just really stands out as like something different and very pat. But you know, every shade in here is glorious, works together. And then you've got this stunning, insane duochrome shade. Or is it a triochrome? Or is it a duochrome? Who knows? But I'm here for it, whatever it is. Is it green? Is it pink? Is it purple? Who even knows what's happening at this point? It's just joy. It's joyful, this palette. And that's why it just pips Divine Rose 1. I feel like Divine Rose 1 is the one that you marry. Divine Rose 2 is the one that you have like a holiday fling with. Does that make sense? So there you have it. That is my ranking of my most treasured possessions, other than my family and my home and maybe my dog, depending on the day. But yeah, I love, adore every single one. Never a dud, never a dislike, never even an average. Love them all. But that is the order my heart tells me to go in. If you've got a Pat McGrath collection, please let us know what your ranking, what your order is in the comment section down below. I think it's so fun to see other people's preferences and orders because we're all so different. And this obviously is just my opinion based on my preferences and how I enjoy them. I hope you enjoyed this video and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.